Well, hey, everybody. How you doing? Running around here like a one-armed paper hanger trying to watch Mel because I was playing on Chris Hope's team on the little quiz there, and so I was trying to hang in there and get my stream ready. So hopefully you all can hear me and see me. And if you notice something different tonight, first of all, I sound like I got a frog in my throat. Give me a second. Okay. No green screen tonight. And the reason for no green screen is tonight I want to work on this helicopter here. And part of the work I'm going to do on it is going to be attaching the rotor blades, which I'm going to have to allow room to swing around. And of course the green screen would get in the way, because what I would like to do tonight is get the rotor heads set up. I don't know if you guys will find that interesting or not, or but when we get to it, we'll see, and make all the adjustments for the different pitch angles on the blades using an angle gauge. And anyway, I got most of the electronics in that thing all set up and working, and it's amazing. And it was took a lot more time than I think anybody would have had the patience to sit through on a live stream and actually watch me do all that. So without wasting any more time, let me say hi to everybody. We've had a lot of people in the chat here early, and I know I probably started this thing before Mel was completely finished with his show, but I saw people starting to pile up, so I figured I didn't want to leave you all waiting. Jerry Cavalry's been in here for quite a while. Somebody named Chopper Girls Air War was in about an hour ago, and I haven't seen her back. Jerry Cavalry again. Pond and Moore, how you doing? Bill, Coast to Coast Drones. Jody, Drone Shots. Art Carlson. Hey Art, I was ready to send a search party out for you. After you didn't have your stream, I forgot that you were going away for the weekend, and you didn't have your stream on Saturday. You didn't have your stream this afternoon, and I was beginning to wonder if you got maybe eaten by a really big fish or something. But hey, I'm glad to hear you're all right. Tomas O'Sullivan's here. How you doing, Tomas? Good to see you. Arizona Drone Dude, Ludsat 1, and Jim from Above and Beyond Drones. And let me scroll down here. Timeless Truths, how you doing? Anybody I missed? Coast to Coast, Tomas, Artco, Coast to Coast. Artco, $2 from Artco. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I can't wait till you fly that heli. Yeah, that's going to be I'm really working, Jody. I'm really working to make sure that everything is exactly right. I'm being it's very painfully precise in everything I do on that helicopter, so that I don't wreck it, because the thing is probably at least 15 years old. And the company that made it, Bergen, doesn't make them anymore. So I'm afraid that if I do break anything on it, that's going to be the end of it. I won't be able to get any spare gears for it, or anything else if it does break. So I'm not really, this little project isn't so much to really build a vehicle that I expect to fly for a long time into the future. It's, since I had this old helicopter sitting around, and it's, for all intents and purposes, basically not worth any money, because of the fact you can't get spare, you can't rotor gears and all that for it. I just thought this would be a great way to learn ArduPilot, and who knows, maybe it will work, and maybe it will keep flying for a long time ago. Ludsat, that thing cost, the basic kit was about $1,800. Then there's about $700 or $800 worth of motor, maybe even more than that. Speed controller, radio gear, servos, gyros, all that other stuff. So we have Dan here. Let's see, where is drone Drone Worship, did he come in? Somebody said hi to Dan. Oh, Drone Worship, hey, gave me $2. How you doing? Autopilot for the win. RG Pilot, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan. I'm a little punchy. This is, I just got done with the excitement of the contest over at Mel's, and Chris Hope was playing for me, so I think I won some stickers. I was actually hoping Lloyd wouldn't call me, so I didn't have to pay attention so that I could get my my little stream set up here. But anyway, I sent a bunch of email invites out for the panel. If anybody'd like to come in, Art, I don't guess you're in front of a computer tonight. I don't see Carlos. Rick Halber, how you doing, buddy? Glad to see you're here. If somebody'd like to come in and keep me company, that'd be great. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I actually got out to do a little flying yesterday and today. So yesterday, I decided to just take the little Tynyhawk, the little white Tynyhawk 2, and grab my transmitter and my goggles, and not drag along all the tools and all the other crap and batteries that I usually do. I jumped in my car and I drove down to the southern end of our community where they are just finishing up building a new overpass and exit at I-95. And what I did was, I have the goggles view of it, so I thought I played a little of that during the intro, but I thought I'd share one of those little flights with you, so here it is. And I'll narrate it as we go. Anyway, this is the little Tynyhawk, and of course I took off and didn't realize it, but I was in stabilized mode and I couldn't get the thing to do anything. Couldn't get it to tilt, I couldn't get it to... So I said, what the world's wrong with this thing? And then it dawned on me that I was in stabilized mode. So in a second or two, you'll see where I switch it into air mode, and then I could actually start flying. There we go. So now, and it amazed me just how much fun this little drone is. Flying outside instead of flying around the house like this. Ed, I see Ed's here in the chat. How you doing, Ed? Where's the link to join? You want to come in to the panel? I'll tell you what. I'll just go ahead and put the link up in the chat, and any of you guys are brave enough to come in here and join this thing. It'd be my pleasure to have you. So let's see here. I'll do this, and if you come in here and ruin my stream, I'll just boot you out, I guess. There you go. Okay. Come on down. Yeah, Dan, you know a lot about the RG Pilot. Maybe might be helpful to have you around. But this is a brand new interchange down on I-95, and I think it's set to open in about suppose they said June, but it looks just about completely done. I'm sure there's always 30 days worth of or more worth of final inspections that they have to do before they actually open it up. But I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to make life a lot more convenient for me. It's right around the corner from where I live, and I'll be able to jump on and off the interstate right there. Bill, Metro Drones, thank you, sir. Thank you very much, as usual. Appreciate it. Welcome. I have I did another flight where everybody, after I sit and I watch these flights, I say to myself, why didn't you fly between the trees, Mitch? Why didn't you fly under the gazebo? And at the time I'm flying, I'm just enthralled. I'm up there soaring around like a bird. I don't think about that. But at the beginning of this flight, this is the second flight. I think I took off and flew through the trees. So I'll show you guys that. Anytime, Mitch, take off. Come on, buddy. Jerry, don't work too hard, buddy. I think if I remember correctly, that I did fly through the trees here. Come on, through the trees. Come on, buddy, you can do it. There you go, through the trees. All right. And I need to get back down there. It's a nice little place to fly. It's within a Class B airspace at Melbourne Airport, unfortunately. And although I had permission from the control tower last year to fly there whenever I wanted, as long as I stayed under 400 feet, it's become very nebulous with some of the new rules. Some of the new rules that the FAA has. So I figured, well, if I'm going to fly in this Class B airspace, I'm going to do it with a little tiny 50-gram drone. So if somebody does say something, I can say, it's just a toy. So we'll see. So anyway, I had a good time. Had a good time flying down there. So that, and then I went out to the park today, and I flew the little Tyro89. And had a good time doing that too. So we got a real celebrity with us.
Well, I don't know about celebrity.
Dan at Drone Worship. Man, your mic is real hot, buddy.
You mean like loud?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything I can do about that. It's coming through my cam up top.
Really? Okay.
You can't hear this, right?
No.
You can't hear that, right? Yeah, so it's coming through my...
Oh, okay.
I don't know if I can adjust that. I'm good. Let me see if I can adjust it. Hold on.
There might be an adjustment on your computer somewhere. How you been?
Let me disable audio processing and see if that helps. Did that cut it back a bit?
No, it just made it all noisy and staticky.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah, very bad.
Back to normal, huh?
Yeah, but it's still very hot. Are you on a Windows computer, or are you on a...
Oh, well, yeah, I'm rocking Alienware, but I guess I could lean back. However, it's still showing that it's picking up. It's a Logitech 910, so it's picking up really decent audio.
Okay.
I just have horrible lighting, so maybe I'll just sit back. Is that better?
Hey, yeah, there you go. That's good.
Okay,
That's
we'll
good.
just do that. So.
So how you been?
I'm good, man. Well, not good, but I'm surviving. Let's put it that way.
Glad to hear it. Hey, I enjoyed the videos that Jim put out of your flying here at the compound. That is some place down there, isn't it?
That it is. It was unfortunate because it was extremely windy, and the FPV drone I took out there, I had just tuned, and we never flew it yet, so it was like a whole new ball game trying to fly it in 50-mile-an-hour winds. It did all right. I mean, it was. There were things I still needed to tune and work on when I got back to Tampa, but I was able to get a flight in. He was pretty amazed by how fast they are, you know.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever actually seen an FPV drone actually fly like that. Did he get a chance to? Did you have a spectator set of goggles for him, or?
I did not. He wears glasses anyways. Normally I would have my screen with me. I have one of those little FPV watches with the little antenna, and I normally bring those in case somebody wants to watch the flight, but mine just burned out, so I got to order another one. So we'll see. But yeah, I just got my 3-inch up and working today. That's got an HD camera. That thing's sick. It's just it is hell to tune that. Oop, my bad. Well, do you care? I try to keep it simple. I mean, at the same time, you don't want to keep it too simple. You don't want to be a kids channel either. So.
Oh yeah. So when's the last time you fooled around with ArduPilot?
So, well, I mean, I've been doing it on and off for what, 4 or 5 years now. It's you know, the fun thing about the 3DR Solo is that it came fully set up with all that stuff active. You know what I'm saying? That was what made it such an amazing machine, is that you didn't have to build one. You could just take the Solo's design and just add on to it. And that's why I played with it for so long. It was such a fun bird. But once the battery started disappearing, it just became a problematic machine, you know. So I didn't want to keep building batteries just to keep it flying. And then they never released all the open source code, which really made me not interested anymore. So.
So you haven't really fooled with this the latest iterations of ArduPilot on all the new
Nope.
Cube controllers and everything.
No,
Wow.
I left off on green, the green cube, and
The green. Oh, okay.
yep,
Okay.
yep. So I was
Well,
messing
well,
with the green cube. So I've messed with the first cube and the second cube, the green cube. I don't. I think they have an orange one out now or something. I haven't tampered with it, but I know Pixhawk's 4 is about the same setup, anyways. It's all APM, so it doesn't really.
Yeah, it's all pretty similar to the original art, but the new Cube controllers, they want the name Cube to take over from Pixhawk.
Right. Well, that's Profi CNC that wants to do that.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
And
that's yeah.
but the software is still the open source stuff. And did you use Mission Planner, or did you
Oh, yeah.
use Q ground control?
No, okay, so I actually had a ground station set up, which was my PC. So I would divert between two different systems. My computer, I would run Mission Planner with NavLink telemetry guide, which is what I use for most of my APM stuff, right? I could get kilometers of range with no issue, with 6 to 9 dBi dipole antennas, no problem. I could transmit telemetry all day. But normally, if I was using my PC, I'd be running Mission Planner. If I was out in the field, I would be running Droid Planner, which is two very different softwares, or Tower app. I don't know if you've messed with Tower before.
No, I haven't. There's a lot of them, and I started with Mission Planner, but for they call this helicopter a traditional helicopter,
Right.
to differentiate it from a hexacopter or quadcopter.
Right.
Because
doesn't that have blades that what do they call that?
Yeah, the pitch angle changes on the blade.
Yeah, but you can do it intentionally. What is I can't think of the name for that.
Well,
oh my
you have
gosh.
you have the cyclic, you have collective pitch, you have cyclic pitch.
That's what I was thinking of, collective pitch.
Yeah, collective pitch raises everything equally to
Right.
make the helicopter go up.
And that's why
cyclic pitch
sorry.
causes the rotor blades to tilt
Right.
in a disc, which is what steers the thing. And in a quadcopter, of course, all that's done by just changing motor speeds.
Sure.
So there's just no mechanical crap like there is. All the mechanical linkages in these heli rotor heads are insane, which is why people have gotten away from them and gone primarily to quadcopters. They're so easy.
Now, let me ask you a question. I know that you've built that, and what GPS system are you currently running on that setup? Oh, Chris, what's up, man?
Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? It's
Good, Mitch.
my contest partner came in third, man.
Hey, Robin's Racing. I wasn't first. I apologize.
No, don't worry about it. I don't care. I hung in there with you till the very end, though. I'm trying to get ready for this stream, and I'm watching that.
You drew the short straw, Mitch.
Hey, I got some 400 AGL stickers.
There you go.
I
Collector's
don't know
item.
I don't know where I'm going to stick them, but I've got them. So
Daniel, how you doing, young man?
I'm in pretty rough shape, to be honest with you, but I don't think there's much I can do about it right now. The doctors aren't willing to see me, and I can't do surgery until they're willing to commit to it. So
because of this COVID nonsense.
yeah, man, it's really put a hex in my recovery. So
Oh, shit. Sorry to hear that, buddy.
Yep.
that's what it is, man.
Bob Casey's here. Hi, Bob. How you doing? Who am I missing? I'm watching you guys and not watching the chat.
I promise I'm not really the negative person everybody thinks I am. I just have my up days and I have my down days, and I think most people can understand that, right?
Well, that's okay.
That's life.
That's
life.
right.
Yeah.
And I've always
man.
felt like I would rather share my whole personal life with everybody, because you guys are all taking this ride with me. It's not just a personal ride. It's 5 years in now, man. Almost 11,000 subscribers. I feel like everybody's kind of taking the entire journey with me. So I share everything. Ups, downs, goods, bads, people I don't like, people I do like, So.
All right. I think I'm working on my little handheld camera here, so that we can talk about this helicopter and I can show you some things. So let me switch over to that. There it is. This thing works out pretty good. That's a cell phone on IV cam that we were talking about. So anyway, Dan, I'll talk to you because you're you know, and everybody else, but you know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Let's see what you got here.
There's the
Yep.
Pixhawk with the orange cube, and the orange cube has got the H7, the new
Okay.
H7 processor. So it's a killer. It's really designed to do a lot more than I'm going to have this helicopter do.
So that's what I was going to ask you real fast before you move on away from the cube. Did they ever fix the slew rate issue between GPS? Do you know if they've looked into that? They were having a lot of issues with the green cube and the original cube with the slew rate. And what would happen is when you would set it up to collect too many satellites at one time, it would totally clock out the processor to the point where it would make the bird fly really bad.
No, they don't have those issues anymore. Not with this thing. In fact, I had never. You know, I'm a latecomer to this, so I had never even heard about that. So I'm hoping the fact that I never heard about it is a good sign.
It means they solved it. Yeah. Okay.
Now, the GPS that I'm using is the new HERE 2.
Yep. It should have a compass built into it and all that.
It's got everything. It's got accelerometers, gyro, compass, and the GPS, and that's all built into it. So what I've got here is that's just sitting up on the tray in the front there. I'll put the camera back in the tripod, but I'm going to show you. I take you for a little walk around on the helicopter, and I'm all wireless tonight, so I can move around here. That is, unless I drop one of my things on the floor. It's supposed to be clipped to my belt. So, hold on a second here. I know that's a terrible looking black
Hey
picture
guys,
you got there.
I'm gonna say hi to everybody that said hi to me in the chat.
Sure.
How's everybody
Go right
doing?
ahead.
Sorry guys, there were a bunch of people that just kind of like when I first jumped in, I'm just saying hi. I know the comments fly and we just keep talking, so I try to hey.
All right. So what I got down here, mounted in underneath of this thing are two 5,000 milliamp 6-cell batteries.
So you're making a flying brick.
Yeah, so there's two of them, 1, 2, and these two, so that's 10 amps, 6-cell, okay, which is one hell of a lot of, I figured the equivalent, it's the equivalent of a 40 amp hour, 12 volt car battery.
What's the C rating on those?
I think these are 50C.
That's pretty high for longevity flights. You may want to crank it down to like 25 to 15.
Well,
if you
just because it has a C rating of 50 doesn't mean it's going to be putting out that much.
I understand that, but the problem is that those cells were meant to be drawn at a faster rate, so they'll actually decline quicker. You see what I'm saying? So the battery was designed to have a really fast draw off rate.
Yeah, I understand, but you need it in this helicopter. This thing. This thing is very heavy.
Okay.
And
right.
I mean, you're looking from these two batteries, 8-minute, 10-minute flight. That's it. So
wow.
It is. It's got a 150 amp ESC on it. So it's definitely. I don't think you can over battery this helicopter. But I use these same batteries in my T-Rex 600, a little smaller helicopter than this too. So it's nice to be able to use the same batteries. Now, what I've got here is another battery. This is a 2200 3-cell. And this battery over here powers all the electronics. So that the two motor batteries are totally isolated from all the servos and the radio and the flight controller. And it's got right there a tiny little FreeSky R9
receiver,
little tiny mini with S-Bus that plugs into the back of the cube, and that's all powered from this power adapter brick. And then when I plug this battery in here, all this stuff's going to start lighting up, and it'll boot up. There's a little light in the receiver. So if I turn the transmitter on. So this thing is blinking away. Now it's blinking blue. When this thing starts blinking green, it means that it's got a a satellite fix.
Enough satellites to take off.
Yeah. Now, on the front of this little helicopter right here is a telemetry transmitter.
I see
See
that.
it? Okay. So then I can come over to my PC here,
There we go. Now we're getting into mission planner fun.
and I can plug in
Mm.
the receiver into a serial port.
This
there.
is where things get fun. This is why I had to bring my laptop out for mission planner, man. This is when you start getting a whole ton of telemetry you weren't expecting.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you Q ground control, because Q
Okay.
ground control seems to be much better and more advanced for configuring the helicopters.
Okay, well, that might make sense. All right. I guess, yeah. Well, Mission Planner has serial code pass-bys that you can do, which I don't think you could do with any of the other. Well, Droid Planner may allow it. I know Tower App got canceled for Droid Planner, but I know Mission Planner does serial key pass-through. So you can set up hotkeys that do automatic things really quickly with Mission Planner. I don't know if QGround does that.
I'm not even ready for that, Dan.
Right.
I'm not ready for that because I just want to get the helicopter working, and then I'll worry about planning missions. I want to get it just
Okay.
to
All right.
fly,
I understand.
you know.
Yeah.
So at any rate, this is showing where I am right here, and it's actually showing me pointed in exactly the southerly direction that the copter's pointed. So so that's working. If you can see right there
The lock.
if I move the helicopter. Right. So the helicopter is connected to this, and there is in the setups here a thing called Heli, which has all the settings for all the rotor head setting, all the proper radio settings, get the proper pitch movements and in the rotor head and all that other stuff.
Presets.
But what I wanted, yeah, oh yeah, because normally you'd set all this stuff up in your transmitter
Right.
when you set up a helicopter. But since this is all fly-by-wire, that the flight controller has to have all these settings in it so that it can fly without a radio transmitter.
Mm-hmm.
All these settings are now done on the flight controller instead of the radio transmitter. So where I might set my limits and throws on the transmitter for maximum pitch and maximum collective, I do all that now inside of this, and I haven't done any of that yet. That's what I was thinking about doing tonight. But what I wanted to show you here was I can now take this thing with the green blinking lights, okay, and I can push my stick over to here, and that'll arm it. Oh, it will arm it if I set the radio to the right model, not the drone I was flying this afternoon. So, model select, R9, Bergen. Select model. There we go. Now my see all my stuff moving? See the collective?
Oh, man.
Can you see that?
I could see it.
Okay, so now if I have my motor interlock shut off, so I can now take and move this to the right, and now I get a solid green, and I'm going to put the transmitter down, and I don't have any rotor blades, but I do have these paddles here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the motor interlock. It disarmed because it took too long. So let's arm it again, and let's hit the motor interlock. Oh, and that, all right, I'm going to, okay, this is basic troubleshooting as to why the motor won't run. What do you think, guys? Did I figure it out?
Yeah, I was wondering how long that was going to take. Man. I'm like,
no batteries on the motor, yeah. All right, so let me plug those in. They plug right in under here.
I just want to say I'm feeling a Han Solo vibe right now. I got a bad feeling about this.
No. Okay, so I now have ESC. We arm it. Motor control. And the tail rotor is spinning back here. Now, if I were to move the servos, you'd see that disc move. Watch this. See it?
Yeah.
So can you understand why I have a certain amount of healthy respect for this thing?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
imagine 6 foot, imagine these rotor blades on there spinning around like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it disarmed itself. So what I need to do now is start setting the all of this stuff up. And if you want to see what happens, if I move the throttle, the collective pitch up, do you see that twisting? Do you see the blade angle twisting?
Mm-hmm.
And both blades do, one on each side. And they have to be at low throttle. You have to have an angle of minus 2.5 to 3 inches, so that when it's running at low throttle, your motor curve is going to spin up the motor, but the blades have a negative pitch, so they're basically pushing the helicopter down onto the ground. And then as you raise it up, the throttle up, you will get to 0 pitch, and then you have to set the servo limits so that you have about 10 to 12 degrees positive angle when you get the full throttle. At the same time, there's a motor control circuit that you set a pitch curve in, so that as you increase the collective pitch and increase the load on the helicopter, you want it to go up faster, it actually increases the power to the motor at the same time. And that throttle curve starts at about 50% at 0 throttle and ends up about 80 to 90% up at the top. And you don't need any more power than that, because I'm not going to be carrying 20 pounds worth of cameras around like this helicopter was designed for. Are you guys losing my audio?
No.
Mm-mm.
No? Okay. It must be my wireless headphones. It's making noise. Anyway, I'll keep going with that as long as I can. But that's what's cooking. It is thrilling to actually hear it run like that, because it's quite a machine. That's the ESC, Dan.
Scary.
You see the size of my yeah, it's pretty big, yeah. And anyway, I've got it all wired up, got everything in there.
I wonder if it would be more efficient just to build your own battery pack for it out of 18 650s. It would be a lot lighter.
Yeah, but 18 650s won't supply the amount of current that this thing needs. It won't fly. Those things would sag like crazy, because this thing is going to be drawing 100 amps out of these batteries. 18 650s, Dan, I think are good if you're flying like a fixed wing FPV that maybe needs, a 10 amp hour, or fit like you were talking about, a 15 amp hour.
Well,
15C rather.
I built an 18 650 setup for my solo, man, and it handled every bit of it with no issues. That was on a 4S. Not only that, the Lionel pack I built gave it a 36-minute flight time, just hovering. So it went from 15 minutes to 36 minutes fully loaded, and it handled every bit of it. The problem was it just looked really strange. That was not a battery I would be caught out flying with to show off the drone, but it did. There's videos on YouTube of other people building Lion packs for the Solo with no issues, man. I mean, they handle it. You parallel or series a bunch of those, man, they create tons of current. So I don't know, man.
I should have had us like this so you guys could see more what I'm doing. I need a full-time producer on this deal here.
But I agree with Ed, man. First time I started messing with this, bro, my first Solo took a dive pretty bad, man, messing with Arju. So you definitely have a lot more stuff to break, man. I just broke a leg and a prop. That thing goes down, bro. It's going to tear itself to pieces.
Well, that's why I want to make sure that that I got it right, and so far so good. Now, you know, you have all the different modes, and stabilized mode should be very, you know, very simple. The first thing I want to do, and you'll see when I get around it, probably be in a week or so, I should actually be ready to test hover this thing.
Okay.
And what you'll see is nothing that's going to look very exciting at all, but basically just get it up off the ground in stabilized mode and just fly it around a little bit, but nothing fancy. Not putting the nose down and taking off like you normally would do with these helicopters. But I'll work up to that. I haven't flown an RC helicopter in quite a while, but I do know how to fly them. So it's a matter of me just, you know, getting used to flying the sticks again. And I'm talking about one without stabilization turned on. I'm talking about one that you're just flying with no flight controller, just regular RC helicopter, where like flying a drone in acro mode, only worse, because in acro mode in a drone, the controller is still working to keep you at the angle where you stopped the command. So in other words, you command the bank angle on that drone and let go of the stick, the drone will stay there. You know, helicopters are subject to all kinds of other forces. The wind can knock you over, knock you this way, and the helicopter won't go back to where it was, like it would with a flight controller. So I don't believe I have a stable pass-through mode in the helicopter thing. I was looking for it here on this screen here. Here's the modes. That I have available to me in the helicopter mode. And right now I've only got a 3-position switch. So I've got it set to stabilize, loiter, and return to launch. The stabilize, of course, I don't have a manual, but I don't think, because they give you all these different modes. So I do have an acro mode.
Right.
Which I will set up, which will allow me to actually take charge of the thing and just go out and fly it around, you know, like bank it over. So it has acro, it has altitude hold, auto, guided, loiter, return to launch, circle, land, drift, sport, flip, auto tune.
Yep, they're all the same
hold,
stuff that Solex runs on.
Yeah, but what it doesn't have is pass-through, which you have on an airplane, a manual, what they call manual mode or pass-through. It does not have that so for copters under ArduPilot, there is no mode that allows you to totally bypass the gyros of the flight controller, like there is when you put ArduPilot in an airplane.
Sure.
Because I built a fixed wing with it, and there is a pass-through mode, so you can basically just fly the airplane as if there were no flight controller.
You should talk to Kelly Sharuk, because I believe he's opened Solex up to the entire Ardu platform, and he definitely has acro modes and full flyability for most of the crafts that are out there that can run any APM open source. So Kelly might be the person to talk to, man, if you actually wanted a transmitter that would be realistic, that, you know, could run on a platform like Solex. Man, it would just be a game changer for the things you're doing.
Well, I'll tell you, right now, I'm I want to get it. I don't want to complicate it any more than I am right now. I want to just get it to where the flight controller will operate the machine. It'll stabilize it. It'll give me control to fly it around just like a drone in stabilized mode.
Sure.
And have a GPS return to launch, and a loiter mode, which is basically just altitude and position hold.
Sure.
Wherever I want. Ludsat asked me, can you plan a trip? Yeah, with that's the beauty of the ArduPilot is you can plan out
Yeah.
trips, but mapping and three-dimensional mapping and
Very,
terrain following.
very sophisticated stuff.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. And
Yeah, this is what I've been trying to turn. Like I said, I've been trying to turn everybody onto this for like 3 years, man. The interest level
I
was
know,
so low.
I know.
It's like, dude, you guys have no idea what you're missing. People are like, DJI is the best. I'm like, those things are toys compared to what you can do with this stuff. You know.
What did you give me here, Dan? What is this?
Oh, are you sharing it right now?
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to go over this with you. So this is another guy who built a remember I was talking about the 18650 setup? This guy took 4S 3P Samsung INR 18650 30Q batteries, which was 9,000 mAh altogether. Now, don't get me wrong, the numbers are a little unrealistic because if you read his thing, he says he ran it down to 2.8 volts. Okay, that's pretty savage, honestly.
Yeah. But that for a lithium ion, that's not going to destroy him though.
So yeah, there's no. We're not going to play the audio here. I'm just going to skip ahead.
Don't play anything that's going to get me a copyright strike.
So we're going to go ahead and I don't think you can hear the audio, right?
No, you got it muted.
Okay, he's just hovering it now, and he does a whole hover thing with this thing just chilling in the field, showing exactly how much time he got on it. So it's not that the 18650 batteries can't handle it. They just look really strange once you attach them to whatever you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just does because they're round, and then you have to like part them all together, and then
Yeah, you got to weld them and everything else. But they're,
go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, thank you for the super chat, my friend. I appreciate that. Didn't want that to go unmentioned. But anyway, Dan, that the 18650s are expensive too compared to if you get good cells. They're expensive. I only paid around $70 a battery for those big 5,006 cells,
right,
which is really not that bad. So we'll see what happens. I think
it's just food for thought. I mean, if you're only getting 8-minute flight times, you can amplify that by 20 minutes just using Lion packs. I mean, it's something to consider. If you can get them, even if you buy one individually, I would say probably 20 or more. Just over time, just keep accumulating them until you get enough to do it.
Yeah, I'm hoping the helicopter lasts long enough to even. It's more of an experimental platform.
Well, yeah.
For me, because what I really want to build is with this. I want to take this flight controller once I learn it, and what I really want to do is just for fun build one of these big heavy lift drones.
So it's not working out, is it?
What's that? Trying to focus?
That's light. It's not working.
No good. That's better.
That thing sucks.
I want to build one of these heavy lift drones for the hell of it.
Sure.
Just for the hell of it, to have antennas and cameras stuck all over it, just have some fun. It's just a hobby,
If you do build it good enough, man, then you can start using all that 3DR equipment because it's all APM driven. You can start using their property surveying stuff that they have, and that is some really cool tech that they designed for it.
Maybe I'll get into that.
It's a different world.
Hey, Chris, you got to stop talking so much, man. You're dominating the conversation here.
I like to listen to Dan talk. Y'all talking some stuff. I understand collective and pitch, y'all and roll. I understand all that stuff. So, my wonder is is it joysticks on your control, or is it for the collective?
Well, it depends. You can
you actually get a remote with the collective on it?
Oh yeah.
Well, this is the throttle becomes your collective pitch.
Okay. All right.
Which is the same as with a drone. With an FPV drone, this basically speeds up the motors, makes the drone go up. That's what collective pitch does. Now, coupled to this control inside the flight controller is the motor control as well, the signal that goes to the ESC. And you create a curve in there. They call it a throttle curve. And there is a place in this both Mission Planner or Mission Planner and Q Ground Control are still all just changing the same variables, the same parameters in the flight controller. But you can go to Video settings. I don't want video set. I want. Oh, it won't display. It won't let me see that until I connect my vehicle. Well, be that way. I guess I'll have to connect my
Chris,
vehicle.
I think your main question was, can you use a transmitter to operate it like you normally would anything else, right? That was kind of that's what you were going for.
Yeah, if you fly a helicopter, you got pedals, you got a collective, and you got the stick.
The answer to that is yes. The downside to that is going to be one heavy bird, so you're not going to be pulling off near the maneuvers that you would with something a lot more agile, less heavy.
No, it's not designed. I mean, although this thing can, some guys have got this 800 and have actually flown 3D with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this thing. So let's see if this thing actually.
But I think potentially what he's doing here is for very advanced autonomous flight ability. Like when you learn these apps or these programs and you actually understand them, you would be surprised at the amount of stuff that opens up to your abilities. Like you get basic stuff with DJI, like point of interest, all that kind of stuff. Imagine if you could hone that point of interest down to like complete 100% accuracy. You know what I'm saying? And that's what these programs allow you to do. That's basically essentially what this is for. You could build a very, very, very sophisticated flight plan if you wanted to have it do multiple tasking objectives when it reaches each one. You know?
Wow.
Well, Chris, let me show you how the radio actually figures into the what controls from a real helicopter. This would be your collective pitch. And you know, in a helicopter, that's the guy's left hand is down beside him and he's pulling his lever up like a parking brake.
Yep.
That's collective pitch. So as you raise this up, that's collective pitch. Now, in a real helicopter, there's a throttle too, and a lot of times it's actually like a motorcycle throttle on the collective pitch lever. Okay, but they usually have something a friction set on it, so you don't have to be flight. You don't make a lot of adjustments with that. You get the rotor up to speed, and then you begin to add collective. And then if you feel like it's lugging a little bit, you add a little more power at the same time. You know what I mean? If you feel like it's too much of a load you've put on it.
Right.
So this does both of those things. And what you don't have a separate throttle control, but what the flight controller does is it knows that at certain positions of collective pitch, give it X% power. Okay, so that's how the power works. And I'll show you over here, I don't know if you can actually read this on the screen, but these boxes right in here, this says throttle output at idle. Well, idle with an electric helicopter basically is when motor interlock is turned off. Now, with a gas helicopter, you got a motor in there. You can't turn it off. It's got to stay idling. So that's where you would set the throttle for the idle. Throttle curve at 0% collective. This says 25%. That means give 25% power to the motor. When you move it, at 0%. When you move it to 25%, up at the 32% power. When you're at half collective, move it to 38% power. When you're at 75% collective, move it to 50%. And when you're full collective pitch, give it full power. Now, I haven't set these yet. I haven't set these up yet. What is that? Is that you, Dan? What is the noise?
Oh, yeah, my dad's watching
okay.
Ozark or something. I don't know what he's watching.
I wondered if I was having a party here. I didn't know.
Well, I needed to restart my computer before jumping on so that it would understand my headset, but I didn't have time because I just wanted to jump on the stream, so I'm having to talk through the way I'm.
That's okay. Hey, no
text,
problem. It's good. Nice to have you here. Okay, Chris. So the rudder control on here would be like the pedals in the helicopter.
All right.
That controls your tail rotor pitch. So and same thing in a quad. It yaws the quad to the left and yaws the quad to the right, just like the rudder pedals do in an airplane and the rudder pedals do in a helicopter. So So here you have collective, you have yaw, and then this is pitch and roll of the main rotor blade, just like you would. So flying this is going to feel,
Like flying a
if
drone.
you had this in acro mode, it'd feel like flying a quad.
Yeah.
You would feel, in fact, if I put a helicopter in a quad pilot's hand and told him it was a 30-pound monster quad, so it's not going to act like a little 5-inch race quad, and just put a headset on him and didn't tell him what he was in, and had an FPV camera, he could fly the thing, and all the controls would feel pretty much like a quad feels.
That's cool.
Chris, you're going to learn something today. I'm going to teach you something, and hopefully Mitch understands this already. Are you ready? You ready to learn something new?
Go ahead, bud.
Do you know what VRS is?
Nope.
Vortex ring state. Do you know what that is essentially, if I say it
Yeah.
that way?
You wash air out from under the bird.
Yes. And this actually comes from helicopters. It's originally known for called settling the power with helicopters. And Mitch is about to learn that valuable lesson about how heavy your helicopter is versus prop wash. So when he gets too close to the ground, we're going to find how unstable that bird really is.
Actually,
I'm curious now because that thing's heavy.
yeah, but I've already flown this thing many times.
Have you? Okay, but
Oh,
fully
yeah,
loaded
yeah.
though?
Oh, I had it with 10 pounds of camera gear hanging underneath.
Okay, well then then it should be good.
No,
man.
I'm not. I know how the helicopter flies, which is
Right.
why I probably don't have to do an awful lot of adjusting on the head.
Okay.
Because everything mechanically was set up perfectly. So now it's
Gotcha.
I just have to basically adjust the controls in this part here.
For an old guy.
Let's see here. Hold on a second. I just my Stream Deck just rebooted itself for some reason.
This is why I'm scared of real helicopters, bro, because I'm fat and VRS is a thing.
Oh, I'm
Oh
telling
yeah.
it's a real thing.
Helicopters, dude.
Now
good.
you see all these settings right here. This is motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, motor 4. In this case, motor 1 is roll, motor 2 is pitch, motor 3 I think is collective, and motor 4 is yaw. Anyway, they don't call them that. They just call them, these are your 4 basic flight controls. And you have a minimum pulse width, and they're set to the standard now. 1,000, 2,000, and 1,500 in the middle. Okay, now you know that from drones. But what I need to do, and I'm not going to do it live tonight because it'd probably just bore everybody, and I want to make sure that it's absolutely perfect, and it's probably going to take me all day to do it. But I have here, right here, something called a helicopter pitch gauge. You probably have never seen one of these things before, but basically what you do with this,
I've got a pitch
is-
gauge, but it's not like that.
yeah, this is, here, that's up. Okay, you put this around the blade. It's got a spring here. See the spring thing?
Yeah.
And the blade goes into it. Let me get a blade here. The blade goes into it like this. All right, so now the thing's sitting on the blade. And as it turns, if it gives a positive pitch like this, I will then move this up and down until the top of it's perfectly level. So if I've got a little bit of pitch like this and I move this to where the top lines up with these fly bars going across, see? And I can read over here on the end at the exact number of degrees of up or down pitch I have. So what I have to do is put the blades on the helicopter. I have to decide that I want 3 degrees of down at 0 collective pitch. In other words, when the throttle's at the bottom, I want this to be down 3 degrees. And then I have to go over here to this adjustment on the pitch and adjust the bottom end of this where it says minimum up or down till this thing settles at 3 degrees. Then I have to find the setting where this is exactly 0 degrees. No pitch up or down, and that's where I would set the what they call trim here, which is the middle setting. And then I want 10 degrees maximum, so I set the maximum setting until it's 10 degrees up. And I do that for the collective pitch. Then I have to move the blade around 90 degrees sideways to get the cyclic pitch, how much pitch for pitch forward and for roll, and do the same thing for those two different servos. And then I would take off back to the tail. Now this is tuning that you have to do with every RC helicopter that you build. Normally you would make these adjustments that you make in the flight controller here in the radio, but that's not any good because the helicopter has to be able to fly without a radio. It has to be able to fly autonomously. If it doesn't fly, what good is it if you've got a thing that says return to home, if it can't do it without your radio being connected? If you've got it set, if the radio fails safes, if it flies out of range or your radio gets disconnected, the thing autonomously will return home. It has to have all the correct settings. So you're programming the flight controller instead of the actual radio. So basically what you're doing is what they call fly-by-wire.
Right.
You're telling, which is the way, modern jet fighters are. The pilot doesn't move a control that moves. It isn't hooked to the tail with a rod.
Okay.
That's all driven by computer.
Yeah.
And his joystick just sends commands to the computer. So ArduPilot happens to call one of their flight modes fly-by-wire A and fly-by-wire B. So it's a whole different philosophy, and I am a long way from being an expert at it yet, but I learned fast, and I'm getting the handle. Hey, just to get that thing and get that motor running was you know yourself, Dan, just trying to get the thing to arm and get by all of those arming errors that you get just to get it to arm.
Well, but then again, I was coming off a platform that was already pre-designed for it. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't really have a ton of those issues. I don't know, man. I never really had too many problems. The only time it would not arm was when I was getting like EKF warnings, which, if you know anything, that's bad.
Well, that's the Kalman filter.
Right.
Right.
Solo was very popular for giving those warnings before takeoff, and then you'd have to do a premature restart on it. But I don't know. I never really had too many issues, man. When I started showing people the Solo, I really just wanted to show them that it was a fun bird to keep it alive. I never really went in depth with anybody. The only time I went in depth, I think, is when I did the GPS stuff, and then I did the battery BMS. But for all the other, mission planner stuff, there wasn't enough interest in it. People just wanted to buy it to fly. So, I didn't ever chase the whole showing people how to do this, showing people how to do that.
Well, it's a small community.
It is.
When you look at the FPV community and the Betaflight users, for example, that's what, 500 times bigger than the ArduPilot community, maybe. Yeah. And you can tell there's a couple of guys, a couple of YouTubers who've been helpful for me. There's Painless 360, British guy who does videos about putting ArduPilot into fixed wings and multi-rotors, but not helicopters. The MADS, MADS-RC, is another, I think, British guy who fools with it. And then there's somebody who I think is part of one of the devs, because his channel name is just ArduPilot. And he's the only one I've seen that actually did a video of installing this into a traditional helicopter.
That's probably Ian, honestly, for Pro PCNC.
Now, his name was Chris.
Chris Goodall.
I don't know what his last name was. I didn't even see him. I didn't even see his face in the video. But it's called, look it up when we're done. It's called ArduPilot is the name of the YouTube channel. And it was a good video. He installed it in a gas helicopter. He did a series of 5 videos. Without that, I probably would have spent 10 times as much time trying to research it to get it to the point I have it now. but I'm ready to set up the mechanical section of it and fly it. It's that far along, so I'll videotape it. It's going to be
Chris, Chris John Brotherton and what's his face stole my Facebook group from me. So I'm not a fan in the slightest. If it's the Chris we're talking about, I'm never communicating with that individual again. I was used pretty severely by a few of those gentlemen, and I have no intentions of ever communicating with them again. So we'll see. Maybe you'll share the video with me. If it's who I think it is, I'm not interested in the slightest.
Well, just take a look. It's Arju Pilot.
All right.
Just type Arju Pilot in the YouTube search, and you'll probably find his channel name is Arju Pilot.
I have a pretty savage history with the Solo and the Profi CNC team. They do not like
Really?
me. Yeah, man. I took a lot of money out of their pocket, and they got really ticked about it. I kept solving problems for free, and they hated it because they wanted to design things and sell them, and I just didn't get along with those guys. So,
well, most of the guys that I've been watching don't appear to be trying to sell anything. So it may be a different bunch of guys than you're talking about. They're very helpful. Especially this guy in England. Now he has been installing Arju Pilot on the Maytech and the some of the other drone flight controllers. In fact, I built a fixed wing, which I haven't had a chance to fly yet, but I just finished it. That fixed wing FPV with a Maytech F405 wing flight controller with Arju Pilot flashed onto it, and I got it all set up, ready to go. I just haven't had a chance to. I want to, for the first time when I launch it, I want to have somebody out there with me to hand launch it. So because I want to do it. First time you fly any kind of an airplane, you don't want to be having it flown on an autopilot. You want to fly it to get it trimmed up and everything, and make sure.
Okay, so I'm on the channel. I'm seeing Philip Rose in a few of these. I see Paul Donardi in one of these. This is the official Profi CNC team that is doing these videos.
Now, that's the Arju Pilot channel?
Yes, I'm on the Arju Pilot channel. They're showing stuff from a year ago when they were fixing the slew rate, but I can see that they are here at this conference, and this is held by Profi CNC.
That's the conference, but this video that I watched.
No, I get that. What I'm saying is, who's hosting this channel is one of the
them. Okay,
yeah.
So you're not there.
Yeah, I'll watch their stuff, but the only reason I don't get along with them is because they don't like me. Like, I took a lot of money out of their pocket, and they just are not fans. So
Well,
Matt Lawrence is all right.
What'd you do with all this money that you took from them?
Yeah, right. I did nothing because I didn't earn a dime. I just showed people how to install third-party gimbals and how to build their own batteries. And apparently, that was an issue. So
that concept reminds me of my father. When I used to tell him, "Hey, Dad, I just bought this new car and saved myself, $8,000." And his answer was, "Oh, what do you plan to do with that $8,000 that you saved?" As if it actually existed. So my ex-wife used to do that. She used to go shopping. She used to save me $500, $1,000 every time she went shopping, because she'd come back and tell me how much she saved.
Right.
So I would say, "Well, where is this money that you saved?" And she didn't get it. She didn't understand what I meant. So where is this money that you cost them, Chris?
Yeah, that's
non-existent.
That's the question. Where? How did I don't understand. Well, they apparently understand these things, and I don't. So.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I felt like problems needed to be solved, so I did it. There were a lot of people that couldn't get a hold of a gimbal. They started running out of gimbals, and so I solved problems. I thought that's what we were there for, to solve problems. Wasn't that what the Facebook groups were created for?
Who makes a good Arju Pilot compatible gimbal?
Well, I mean, they're all, any CNC alloy gimbal will do the trick. I mean, it's not. Let's see, what did I used to run on? Who's that company? Oh, they make really good gimbals. Damn. Oh, now you're gonna kill me. Hold on a sec. I got a few saved on my eBay account.
I'm trying to catch up on the chat here. See, we got Mel. Mel's in here.
Mm-hmm.
And the usual suspects. Jim, where's Jim tonight?
Hey, Mitch.
Above and Beyond Drones. Yeah.
I'm gonna cut out, man. I got some stuff I need to do before I go to bed tonight. So.
Oh, well, listen, always good to see you, Chris.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, Dan.
It was
Good
nice.
to visit with you, buddy.
Yes, sir. Have a good night, Chris.
Y'all do the
Was
same,
good.
guys.
It was good to be your teammate tonight, man.
It was, and thank you again, Mel, for inviting me.
Tarot.
In here. Tannerat.
No,
Boom.
Tarot. That's the company that makes really good gimbals. Is Tarot FLIR View Pro. They make a whole bunch of different gimbals. Tarot's a really good company. TAROT. If you've never had any of their stuff, man, they are specifically designed for all third-party software, especially APM. So they make FLIR setups too for anybody running APM. They have the Tarot FLIR View Pro, which is $230 camera, but I mean that's that's stabilized 3-axis gimbal for and it's all set up for FLIR use in HD. So that's pretty cheap, man. If you were trying to get a FLIR setup.
Are you kidding? It's cheap at $10,000 from some of these DJI cameras.
Oh yeah, no, that's why I said $230 for a FLIR View
that's-
Pro is nuts. It's unheard of. But that's you're talking about DJI, who's proprietary, that's known for
Yeah.
brand name versus open source, which is designed to be cheap and easy to experiment with.
Well, that's why I want to build one of these bigger quads. And it doesn't have to be really huge because I don't plan on wanting to lift a lot of weight with it. But I want it to be at least the size of a Matrice, maybe a little bigger than a
Well,
Matrice.
So thanks to Jim, who's I think in here still. Yeah, we got to have a look at the Matrice, the 210.
Yeah, that's quite a drone. Yeah, I went
quite
out
a
there with
drone.
him I went out there to the compound with him, and he flew that thing around. And of course, when I was out there at Sulphur Springs that day, that your buddy Bill and Ken Dono and
respect for
Billy
Ken.
Kyle. Yeah, I know
Oh, no.
you do.
No,
And
not
Billy and
Billy.
Billy were there, and what's his face, Brian. What's his last name?
Yeah, you're talking about iAdventures.
Yeah, iAdventures. Yeah, he was out there with his Matrice, and it's an impressive piece of machinery. But God, it's crazy money. By the time
Yeah.
you get done putting all these cameras in, $40,000-$50,000.
Jim just said Matrice 210 RTK.
RTK. Well,
Yep.
I can get the RTK version of this GPS that I've got on this thing.
hmm
It's $300-$400. It looks the same. It's GPS module, but it's an RTK version, and I guess you need a remote ground station with it. But it's nowhere near the cost of what DJI puts on that stuff. So
DJ.
so we'll see. Maybe one of these days I'll learn all this surveying and mapping and crap and
You'll have fun.
yeah. If
Me
it's
and
not
Jim-
fun, I don't want to do it.
Me and Jim are already talking about building a heavy lift one. I think we're probably going to go with the Pixhawk setup, honestly. However,
what else would you put on it?
don't know yet. We haven't really discussed. I have ideas because I want to build a boat as well. I want to do an APM driven boat. There's a few of them out here, but I have an app idea that I think would take off really quick. And if it did do good, then it would require a autonomous boat to do its sequence every single morning without failure on its own. Never have
Well,
to touch it.
RG Pilot has a boat. They have rover. They have airplanes, helicopters, every which kind of drone configuration. It's incredible. There's a guy. This Paweł Spakowski, who's a Polish fellow who is one of the devs for INAV, which is also a terrific system. I'm flying INAV on a couple of quads. It works great. But he's building a rover now. trying to build stuff into INAV to actually control a rover, too, where where it's all built in for it. But
That's what Kelly has a rover settings now for Solex. So if you take the internals of a Solo and you turn it into a rover body, you can use Solex with it, which makes it 10 times cooler. Now you have a transmitter.
I'll have to look into this Solex stuff. But the cost.
Well, but you gotta. It's $29.99 for the app, right?
I'm saying no, not just the app. I'm talking about the cost of the hardware compared to. It's so cheap.
That's what I'm saying. If you just buy a crash Solo and just pull the parts out of it, that's all you're using.
Yeah.
Parts. You know what I'm saying? You don't need a functioning Solo. You just need the innards to work, and then you can build everything else around it. You know.
Why isn't Jim in here tonight? He's in the chat. I don't know, Jim. Come on, get your butt in here, man. We're talking.
I'm starting to get tired though, so Jim needs to replace me because I'm like,
well, that's all right.
That's why I got the fan on. It's keeping me up, you know.
I mean, I could make you watch more of my old fart style of FPV flying.
Oh, that sounds actually. You're not doing too bad, man. It's fun, isn't it? That's a good time, man. It's really is. It's an experience you can't share with anybody. You can tell them about it all day. Until they do it themselves, it's really hard to impress on how much fun FPV really is.
Here's I took this little this is one of those Tyro89s. Okay. This little guy right here, tiny little $89 coin.
Little toothpick build.
Yeah, and I put a Rush tiny tank, 350 milliamp transmit VTX in it, and that's all it needed. I had it set to 200 milliwatts rather here, and this was me just flying around the park today with this thing, and it's a blast. And I put a 650 milliamp 3-cell on it.
Nice.
And I get over 6-minute flights.
That's crazy. That's pretty good. However, like I said, I just got the HX115 HD, man. There's nothing like being able to show people HD footage from a 3-inch.
Are you using the DJI?
No, no.
Oh, it carries a GoPro.
2-in-1? No, it's a 2-in-1 camera. It's a CADX.
Oh, okay, a CADX, a Tarsier. With the two lenses. They
finally figured out how to get it to record in 1080 at 60 frames per second. So it's a lot cleaner, it's a lot smoother, and you can actually activate wide dynamic range on it now. So it gives you a very good visual of everything going on.
Is that the V2 that you got of the?
No, I have the 3, the CADX Micro 3, Nano Micro 3. And it's sick, man. It's a hell of a camera. I'm not gonna lie, it does really good with the recording. You couldn't tell the difference between a GoPro, on basic, like a Hero 4 on basic standard settings, man, with wide dynamic range active. I don't think you could tell the difference between a GoPro Hero 4 shooting 1080 at 60 or the little HD. But heck, I paid $220 for it, brand new, so it's not like it was cheap. It was a pricey little bird, but it comes all set up. Beta FPV does all the setup for you automatically.
Oh, okay. It's a Beta FPV, one of the little blue ones. Okay.
So it's a ripper, though, man. It's quick. It'll run 3S and 4S. So if you really want to get savage with it, it'll go on 4S. It goes up 200 milliwatts, same thing. It's a screamer. It does just fine.
I'll tell you, I don't know, but I'm hooked, Dan. I'm hooked.
It's too much fun.
Well, it's flying, and I've been you know how long I've been an RC pilot. Yeah.
You didn't really realize how much fun it was though until drones opened up the freedom factor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's cool to watch a plane fly, and it's cool to watch a helicopter fly.
Yeah, no doubt the first-person view, because we were doing that. We were doing that way back 15, 20 years ago. We were buying cameras and buying transmitters, and we didn't even use goggles. We actually had we took TVs, 20-something-inch TVs, out to the flying field with us and put hoods over them so you
could see. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, especially the DJI system. Have you flown that yet?
So I have. I have my opinion about it. It's
You're
it's
entitled.
okay. It's okay.
I love it.
I'll tell you what. We flew the tower, and I run only 200 milliwatts on most of my stuff. Now my B flight's running 600 milliwatts. Okay, and that's pretty good signal push. 200 to 600 is plenty for most areas. You can get some serious range. I don't have dropout when I go behind the tower. Now you know the tower I'm talking about, Sulphur Springs Water Tower. I don't have drop off on any of my stuff. It may see a static line or two, but I don't have drop off. I flew my buddy's DJI rig around the back of that thing, man, and it was all great till I got near the back of it, and it just stalled on the video feed, and I was like, "Oh."
See, I've never had that happen with mine. Now there's a lot of different settings. You can set the power up and down. You can set what they call focus mode.
Yep.
You can be flying in low latency or high quality.
Look at you with your little Maddie. Little.
You know, and I can do that stuff. I just I'm old, so when I fly, I'm not trying to be too exciting. I like to just,
Don't want to get the heart pumping, huh?
No, I want to relax. I love doing it. In fact, that's why I built some of these the fixed wings.
Sure.
Where you could just go off on a cruise with the cameras that swivel and.
There's some days I do that, even with FPV. Even if I'm flying a 5-inch on a 4S, 75C punch battery, I still take it easy. I may just go out, just cruise, But then there's other days, man, I just go out there and I rip.
Yeah,
just
and depends. And it's just who I am, I guess, and my background. And I've explained this to a lot of guys before. When you build and fly RC, the goal is not to wreck them, because they're some of these airplanes you built out of wood and it took you 6 months to build it.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not like a quad that you can smash into a tree and pick it up,
place
dust it
apart.
off, and go flying it. Yeah, and you get so much in the habit of valuing the equipment, even if it was only a quad that took you 2 hours to throw together.
Right.
I still have that habit of valuing the equipment. So I will never become an FPV pilot like these guys that'll go out and break 4 GoPro cameras in a day.
Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. There are things like today I turned down 2 flights, 2 locations that we stopped at earlier because I knew that it was not going to end well. I know my skill set versus the area I'm in, and as soon as we got there, I was like, "Yeah, I'm not going to fly this. Good luck, guys. I wish you the best. Hopefully, your equipment comes back in one piece."
Yeah, I don't want to risk it, and I have not broken I've not broken one yet because I just value the equipment, and holds you back from really becoming an expert at flying bandos and all of that crap.
I'm getting more ballsy now than I was. There's things that I'm trying now, even because I don't have a way to plug in my controller to be able to use my Velocidrome, which I've been paying for forever. So now that I'm getting good enough to try all these stunts, I'm doing it with my real bird, which means when I do these things, I go really high in the air to commit to the move so that I can understand it and still have a lot of leverage on the way back down for failure. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, altitude is my style too. I like to be where, although I like to cruise low. You saw in how I like to follow the roads and cruise down low to the ground. But if I'm going to be doing anything, that turns me on my head, I'm going to have some altitude. I don't want to be doing it.
Yeah, I always do a big throttle punches in.
Here comes Jim, Sir James. How you doing?
Flying, buddy.
You guys were doing fine. I didn't want to interrupt.
No. We the more the merrier. Here I want to show you one other one that I did today. That really, and if Rick Halber is still watching.
That reminds me.
This is the little Tinyhawk, Tinyhawk Freestyle that he sent me, and this is a little rocket ship. Only problem is it's only got a 25 milliwatt. You see what happens to the video?
Drops out and gets all.
Yeah. And what happened
VTX?
Yeah, it's a 20. I have to put a bigger VTX in it. I can't get it very far away from me at all. See what? And what happened was I got it out over these trees here, and lost video completely with the thing.
Ah.
And I was right there, and the DJI goggles actually reset, and for about a second the screen went black. Said, because I have the analog adapter going into the AV input. Well, the receiver lost the signal completely from this thing, and it wasn't that far away. And all of a sudden I'm flying. Now, I mean, it wouldn't have hurt anything if the drone, you know, I almost thought about just disarming it and letting it hit the ground. But after about a second, I got the video back. So I just brought it back in and landed.
You could
But
see it though? You knew where it was?
Well, I knew, yeah, because I remember I knew where I was flying when I last lost. It might have been hard to find, but it wasn't anywhere too far away, and you know. But I got the video back, and it was still. What I did was when I lost the video, I just punched it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I knew I was level.
Skyrocket.
So the first thing I did was I just punched it. So and this thing was shot straight up, and then about a second later, I get the video back, and I'm way the hell up in the air. I put the nose straight down and
Yeah,
came in and landed.
Dan had me. I had the GoPro 8 in my hand, right? And he goes, "Now you've got this thing in the picture, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "All he did was touch the throttle, and boom."
Yeah. Beep.
Try and follow that crap with a GoPro. Not going to happen.
Jim, I'm telling you, Dan, we got to get this boy into flying FPV.
Oh, I'm
He'll learn.
down. He's gonna
I'm
need a set
telling
of
you.
scout goggles, so he's gonna need something that fits over his glasses.
I've got a set of the Vipers. You
Okay.
know, and they work great. Although I'm using the because you can wear them over glasses. I have to have
Right.
goggles I can wear over glasses, and the DJI goggles are actually work great over glasses. So to me, that was the answer. So that's why
Now-
I built that mod with the analog module on the front.
Mitch, can you share this? This was today's flight with the Beta F. I just got it back from Brian.
Yeah, go
He was-
ahead. Hit play.
Yeah, he was tuning this today, just so you guys are aware. So if it looks like I'm feeling faulty on the sticks, I definitely am. I've never played with this tune or these PIDs yet. But this is the idea of the camera. Like, you'll have an understanding. I'm just getting used to this drone. Like, this is,
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So, but you can see the camera is
Oh God, yeah.
surprisingly ridiculous. You know, it's just like having a GoPro Hero 4 strapped to it. Like the color, the everything about it. And this is degraded now by YouTube, and it still looks fantastic. You know what I'm saying? You can tell it's been compressed by YouTube.
Which one is that? Which camera?
This is my 3-inch XH115 HD. It's the new Beta FPV 3-inch micro that runs 3S and 4S. I mean, it's only the size of the palm of my hand, but man, it's
Wow.
that Caddx Nano camera is surprising. I love it because I don't have to carry a GoPro now. I just plug in the battery and it auto records. You know, when you're done, you just unplug and it automatically stops the recording. You pull the SD card out and you edit the footage. You know, it's so much simpler than having to pick that big GoPro rig up, set it on top, carry it with you. You know.
I was asking you about that too. If you could feel the difference with the GoPro on it, remember?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, the 5-inch will eat it up no matter what because it's a 5-inch and it's got a ton of power. But if you can eliminate that weight, think about, you know what I'm saying, how much more agile and aggressive the quad would actually be. Now, this is me just cruising. I barely have any angle under this thing, you know, and this is on a 3S. But look at the range I'm getting all the way down the road, around the corner. You know, it's like this thing is just fantastic for what it is. So if you were thinking about buying a nice little HD setup that can, you know, handle some really good footage without the GoPro, and you want to not give people crappy DVR footage, this thing's $220, man, out the box. It's ready to fly. You know, it's ready to rip, tater chip. So, fantastic little bird, man. I'm having a blast. So.
You know, this, we'll hold it up here.
The Caddx? Wow, I thought you were bringing up the Caddx.
No, this is an Acrobrat that I built, Dan.
Okay.
It's a 3-inch quad. It's got the HGLRC GEP RC 1507s, and it's got the F7 Mamba flight stack in it, and it's got the DJI digital.
Digital.
See,
Yeah.
see the air unit? I crammed all that in there. There's the digital camera.
Yeah.
And it's got a lost quad beeper.
Now that's a 3S, correct?
No, 4S.
That'll take up the 4S. Okay, so that's about like
and,
the.
Wait, and it's got a GPS on it, so
Right.
it has full GPS rescue.
Okay.
And this little bugger, I fly this with a 1300 milliamp 4-cell,
Mm-hmm.
and it still flies great. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the goggles video.
Let me go grab a drink of water. I got a little heartburn. Give me 1 sec.
Okay.
I
I
go.
want to show.
Be right back, guys.
Jim, don't you wish you were in this? Don't you wish you were doing this?
I would definitely lose them.
No, you.
Because
wouldn't.
I'll tell you what, you're flying I think the fastest I had the Inspire at was 65 miles an hour. That's according to air data. And when I saw his 5-inch FPV drone, it was like double that. I mean, it was screaming.
But you don't fly them line of sight. You don't fly them from the ground looking up at the drone. You got the goggles on. So you're in the drone. So the speed is not even a factor. If you're up in the air, it doesn't matter if you're going 100 miles an hour. You're still flying the quad. Quads are very hard to fly line of sight because you don't know which way front is.
Right.
You know?
That's what I was saying to him. It doesn't matter because he was sitting on
No,
the back of the truck. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're inside the quad looking out the camera. So it doesn't matter if it's going this way or even if it's flying back towards you. You're just looking at yourself, and left is still left and right is still right. See, so you don't have to worry about the orientation.
And
Hey, I wanted to
we've had that talk. I don't know. I didn't show Dan this when he was here. We had that talk about this big 7-inch DJI antenna, right? And it's only got the 3-inch wire. Is all that's inside that thing?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's pretty much the same as the FPV.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Dan,
Inside
this
a big
is-
plastic holder.
Yeah, that's
This- All right, Dan, this recording is from the goggles DVR, not the DVR in the
Right, on the
air
drone.
unit,
Mhm.
but this is actually recorded from. This is exactly what I was seeing in the goggles. Okay, and
like I said, I've flown the DJI rig before.
no, but look at this. I want you to see this recording.
Phew. You see all the checker marks? That's what I'm talking about with that compression rate.
Oh, that's just YouTube. I mean, I'm looking at this on my monitor, and it's like looking at GoPro footage. It is
Right.
just. I could count the twigs on the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame YouTube really crushes it.
Yeah, once you re-download your video, they upload it in gigabytes. When you
Yeah.
re-download it, it's like 330 megabytes. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Press the crap out of that thing.
Like I tried to show the video that you had taken from your FPV.
I told you I had to re-download it, remember? And it just
That
was
got
like,
crushed. Yeah, it got crushed.
It's like, okay.
Now, what I want to build, Dan, I've got one of those little Cadex Vistas, which is the smaller, DJI.
That's what I thought you
camera.
were going to show. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to build a little 2.5-inch toothpick with the Cadex Vista that's going to come in at about 150 grams or so without a battery.
Right.
So it'll be under 250 grams and still yet have the same picture as this in the goggles.
They make those hummingbird drones. It's a shame now that air unit is quote unquote so big so that you can't go smaller, like you're talking about a 3-inch, right?
Well, no, this is in a 3-inch with the air unit. This air
Yeah,
unit is the full size. This is
That's
the
a
full
large
size.
3-inch, man, compared to what mine is. That thing's huge compared to mine.
Well, yeah, you can see how far the blades are apart. But it's still a
built
three.
like a tank.
It is. It's called an Acrobrat. It's all shock mounted,
Right.
And yet it's not. This is a Amazon knockoff Acrobrat frame that costs 20-something bucks, and it works great. But I had to really modify it. I had to move the flight stack all the way up to get this air unit in there. And now I did this before they came out with the Cadex, but the Cadex will be perfect for this. It will be a little lighter. So I'm thinking if I need something to do one day, I may take this air unit out of here and stick that Cadex in here if I haven't found another home for it shortly.
It must be you, Ed. What's going on with the chat? It says when Ed types, when I type, a different name comes up.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you're all green for me because I have that go-to channel on mine.
Yeah, Ludsat likes the DJI stuff. You know, I had a bunch of analog quads before I got the DJI, and a lot of them, there's just no way to put the DJI in them. But I still enjoy analog. I just did that mod, that analog mod for the DJI goggles, so I can use the goggles for both analog and digital. But
that bird just like.
Yeah, did you see that? Was that cool? I'm gonna go back and do that
That
again.
bird just like ripped off the lens, man. He came in hot. He didn't see it coming at all. It was like
Where
the
was
last second he veered
I
off.
think it was when I was coming back this way.
Man, that bird, I have a footage of a seagull doing that. Missed it by like
I think it was
2
right
inches.
here.
Oh, yeah, I've had pelicans on the Phantom
Here it
4.
is. There
right
he is.
here.
There he is. Right there. Cool.
Hey guys, there's only 13 likes and 20 people in here. And do I need to like start calling the airlines to see how cheap travel is to go break fingers?
Get it done, Dan. That's why I want you in here, Dan the Enforcer, man. So Jim.
Yeah.
Why don't you meet up with me at the park?
Because you get up too damn early.
What time is good for you?
Let me see. If I make it to bed by 4 a.m., I'm in good shape.
No, I mean seriously. What time is good for you? 10 o'clock in the morning?
You're best shooting for noon.
Noon. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not playing around. I take Xanax to try and go to sleep. 2 milligrams, and I'm still awake at 5 a.m. So.
But I mean, we got gorgeous weather coming up this week. I mean, Chamber of Commerce weather.
Dan, I was trying to get Dan to stay over. If he had stayed over, the entire next day was rain for 24 hours.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
It was terrible.
I was actually glad I went home, to be honest with you, man.
You'd have been stuck here, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would have drove anyways. What the hell?
Now you see me sitting on a chair under a tree
No.
right there.
Stop
I'm
looking
laying
so.
right in front of me.
Can't
Stop
see
looking
it.
so comfortable.
I mean, tell me that isn't here. Tell me that isn't comfortable right there. Look at this is how I fly quads. I find some shade, I sit down in a chair.
I like to stand up and see how well my body can take the Stevie Wonder.
Oh God, you end up putting all kinds of body English in it, you know, when you do that. Yeah, Jim.
You had
You know
to
where-
with his Xeno. His Xeno kept veering off to the left, and when you bring
Yeah,
it
I
back,
saw
it
that.
veers off to the right.
You
Dude,
know,
the
it's drunk,
Xeno is
like a drunk quad.
Dude,
What?
the Xeno's
what,
like
uh,
a wino, bro. It doesn't know what it wants.
Yeah,
Does everybody have that problem with the Xeno?
It's a really well-known problem for Hubsan products. I'm not saying every person goes through it, but some of them just do it, and there's no way to get them to stop doing it. So I've tried everything, man. I've gone back to old firmware, new firmware. I've done it all, and it just doesn't fix it. There's a lot of people say mine does it too, and then there's other people say mine flies perfect. Well, and that's what I keep telling everybody for years is that Hubsan's like a 50-50 company. 50% of you are going to have a good time. 50% of you are going to get screwed. You know, it's just that's it. They're a 50-50 company. Buy cheap, you get cheap. You know.
Yeah. So Dan, I would probably bet you didn't order a Mavic Air 2.
I did not. I'm done buying new quads for quite some time. I'll tell you why, because I just don't see the market heading in any direction that I'm interested in right now. I think there's so much potential for drones, and they're really just holding back. It seems to be like everybody's just like, oh, camera, new camera, new camera, new camera. Like, I don't care. Does it take footage? Yes. Can it shoot better than 1080 at 60? Yeah. Well, I don't care. You know, it's just I want to see them do stuff that we haven't seen before, and I know the potential's there. The R&D team is just getting lazy at this point. Oh, we'll just put a better camera on it, people will buy it. Okay, you know.
Well, yeah, I'm not. I know you didn't order one, or did you, Jim? Did you order one of them?
No. What would I do with it?
And you know that I don't. You know I don't want one, but they're sure as hell going to sell a lot of them. I can tell
I
you
will
that.
get just as many views talking about it without even having to own it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you keep making these the size of the S20 smartphone sensor, and you know,
It's a joke.
you're actually better off putting that smartphone on an FPV and flying that thing, getting a 108 megapixel photo. If you're going to start playing with pixel binning and all that crap to try and sell drones, 8K time lapse. Come on, man.
I know.
Come on.
I know. It's all marketing, man. Isn't it? It's all marketing.
Yeah,
So Jim.
Yeah.
I have two sets of DJI goggles. Okay.
Well, you're a diopter man or no?
No, I wear glasses. You can put them right over your glasses.
Yeah.
But I got 2 pairs of them, which means, and they have what they call spectator mode.
Trainer
So
mode, yeah.
No, spectator mode, not audience mode. That's why I want to meet you out at the park, because I'll give you a pair of goggles, and you'll have the same high def picture in the goggles as I do, and you go along for the ride while I'm flying it. You'll actually see what it's like while you're flying it. It's really something. And it's not like you live that far from that park either, is it?
No. Actually, they closed 5 of our parks, but not that
I know
one.
they did, but they didn't close this one. So I'll tell you what. Tomorrow I'll be out there at noon, okay? Because I'm going flying. I'll be out there tomorrow at noon. I'll bring all that stuff with me. Come on out. Commit to it, man. Come on, do it. Can't get them to commit to it.
There's a great chance of that happening.
Come out, bring a drone, bring something, bring a Matrice, bring your whatever, Mavic. So you got, and I'll bring some FPV drones, and it's gorgeous out there, and there's nobody out there.
Yeah,
You got
I
the
know.
whole friggin' park to yourself. It's not like the compound where you got guys running around on 4x4s and motorcycles and.
That park's been empty since it was opened.
I know, powered parachutes. But at any rate, you know, when you first pull into the park, right there on the left,
There's the soccer field.
A soccer field, and there's a concession stand with a gazebo and a parking lot. Right there at the gazebo there, okay,
Mitch,
is where he's set up, right under the gazebo.
I would have no trouble finding you, Mitch.
Okay, noon. I'll be there. I'm going flying tomorrow, and I'll bring my GoPro camera, and I can make a Jim and Dan style video without Dan, just the 2 of us. And if Dan wants to jump in his truck and drive another 3 friggin' hours, he's welcome.
Actually,
You guys are coming over here this time.
when we flew together, we never collected the video and made a video out of it.
No, that's true, man. Well, because we talked until it was like 8 o'clock before I got out of there, man. I didn't make it home until like 11:30.
Yeah, it was getting dark already.
It was dark when we were starting to like leave. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, that model was kind of hot, so I kind of wanted to stick around and see if the model was going to come back. But
She's not in any of my video.
no, well, I did give you the video, bro.
Oh, Carlos is in here. I see the wisecracks in the.
Yeah, Carlos, you
why-
prick.
yeah.
What's up?
Hey, Carlos, how you doing? I see the wisecracks. He says Jim doesn't want to get sick watching me fly.
Now, Carlos had the goggles that I actually did like. Had the open front.
Yeah, I have a pair of those too. That's
Yeah.
what I bought in the first place. The Viper
Yes.
FX Vipers. Yeah,
Yes.
I got a pair of them. They're my kind of my backup goggles. But I've been using the DJIs for everything.
Bob.
Even for the analog feed, they give you a gorgeous big
It's
picture.
the distance that I wear the glasses for. I forget what you call that.
Yeah, me too. And these
Nearsighted
are
or
all,
farsighted?
Yeah.
these things are all designed for the focal length of your distance, which means I can wear my normal glasses. Where remember those white goggles that DJI first came out with?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those were set to your reading. I needed to have special reading prescriptions made to fly with those.
Diopters.
That's
Yeah,
what it,
well, and I can't get the diopters, Dan, because I have astigmatism and prism correction. So just drugstore glasses don't do it for me, which
Well,
is
you're
just
just
a
all sorts
magnification.
of, aren't you?
I am, but I'm old. It's my birthday Thursday, guys. I'm having it on my live stream. On my live streams Thursday night at 6 p.m. is going to be my birthday party. 73, guys. 73 years old.
Gosh, about to start to fall down the hill.
that's only a number for me. My father passed at 60, so I'm on borrowed
Really?
time. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Longevity isn't in my family. It is in yours, though, Mitch.
it is. Yeah, I'm lucky. My
I'm gone
my
before
family-
both of you.
Maybe. I you know, my biggest fear is that I outlive my children. My grandfather, who made it to 102 years old, had 16 brothers and sisters. 16 of them. He had 2 daughters. He outlived all of them. He outlived his wife, all of his brothers and sisters, and both his children. And that was rough. You know, that's a lot of funerals to go to, man.
Can't imagine that.
Yeah.
Did you see what Bob said up there? You got to scroll up probably a little
No,
bit.
I'd have to put my glasses on for that.
Which
Bob.
one?
Bob.
It would be
said-
good to meet up video. The Florida Connection blows off steam.
Yeah,
That
he's calling us the Florida Connection because we're all in Florida. He's giving
We're
us a
all in
name
Florida.
as a group.
It would be a good meetup. Oh yeah.
And the only person
Well,
that
you know
really
that-
blows off steam is
Yeah. You know, the silly part is that
We lost you, Dan. We lost Dan's
who?
audio.
no.
What?
I hear
Okay,
him.
there you are. Okay.
Yeah. Jim, you know, the sad part is you and I met up once
Right.
a long time ago, and we live 15 minutes apart. How stupid
And-
is that? Are you
and
antisocial or what? You
How
don't
many
like me?
times? How many times have I videoed where you live doing that highway
Exactly.
project? Yeah.
Hey, did you see the FPV stuff I got of that highway
Yes.
today?
Yes.
It's done. It's
Been
done.
done.
It's ready to be open. I guess they're waiting on some inspections or something, but it's
Uh,
gorgeous, isn't it?
They took so long to open up that one up in Vieira. I don't know what
That
their
was
problem
stupid.
is. Yeah.
Well, one of the problems they had with the Vieira deal is, you know, Vieira is kind of a golf carty kind of community. All those people have golf carts, and everywhere you go, they have golf cart trail, you know, golf cart sidewalks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when they originally built that overpass, they didn't make provisions for the golf carts, and the local residents went up in arms, and they had to rebuild a lot of that to make sure that the golf carts could get across.
It's a $30 million overpass.
Yeah, I know. It's absurd. It's the
Yeah.
dumbest thing. It's double diamond, they call it.
Yep.
It's like a
There's
roller coaster ride.
103 of them in America.
Yeah, it's dumb. It's stupid, especially with the small amount of traffic that thing has. Dan? Yes?
Night Train just saying hi. He popped in. Hi, Night Train.
Oh, Mike, how you doing, buddy?
I try to keep up with the chat that way we don't get too sidetracked and we're still talking.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing I see in shows where you just start ignoring everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just try to.
Well,
I
that's
try to
why I
keep-
like to have a panel to keep track of the chat. So I appreciate that. No, I really.
Because I promise you quit paying attention to me in chat when I'm like asking a question and all of a sudden it doesn't get answered and then I ask it again and it still doesn't get answered. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I
There are
kind
things
of
to do.
feel that way.
you know.
You know, that is also the stupidest highway configuration I have ever seen. A double diamond and it crisscrosses. It goes against your natural grain of driving.
Yeah.
because you're.
I guess once you get used to it, it's okay. If you live there and you do it every day, then it becomes second nature. But the first time you go through that thing, you go, "What the hell? What am I doing?" You know?
Yeah.
It's supposed to feed the traffic on and off
Yeah.
much smoother, but there's not that much traffic there at Vieira Boulevard to need an intersection like that. I don't know who's.
But they keep
Wet
building
dream
those
that was.
condos, so I guess they're planning on it. They're building
Maybe.
that friggin' piece of sandbar up like it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, that area, and it's not cheap up there either. You got.
You remember when that started out as Suntree? You remember that, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's going to be a small little golf community.
Yeah.
Then all the condos went up, and the friggin' New
crazy.
Yorkers come
Yeah.
down here.
Yep. My son lives. His first house that they bought over there was in Suntree, and then they bought this in Sonoma, off of Stadium Parkway, and then they got the place on the river. So you know he's been here for a long time.
I have video of when the stadium was being built. I had the old Sony shoulder VHS camcorders because that was built in 1986, I think.
Yeah, you saw that video I did it at, didn't you? Of
Yeah.
the stadium?
Yeah.
That was fun. And you know, I can get permission again, Jim, if you want to fly that stadium. It's very colorful. It's beautiful, beautiful.
I have
video opportunity.
I have FAA certificates of authority.
Yeah, but I know. But my son knows the owners.
Okay.
It's private property. See, it's private property. So I mean, actually, go in. I flew from in the stands, and I was the only human being in that place when I flew it, which was really a blast.
And you will be tomorrow too. They just can't get the. It started out as the Florida Marlins, then it went to the Washington Nationals, and then it went to the AASUA or whatever.
UASS or whatever the hell that was. Yeah, it.
Another waste
It
of
was.
money.
Yeah, but it's they're using it, and it's a going concern, so they must be doing something right.
Good.
I don't know what it is. Here, let me see if I can.
Couldn't
I
be
can
happier
find it.
for them.
Yeah, where is it?
I used to be a paramedic at that stadium
Oh, really?
when it was the Florida Marlins. Yeah.
I mean, they really fixed it up nice. Here's
Nice pile of concrete. It'll never go anywhere. I know, Ed. I know I used to be a New Yorker, but I left New York to get away from that crap. 34 years on Long Island. I moved here to get away from New Yorkers. Jesus. They come down here with their democratic views, and I can't stand them.
oh yeah. Hey, we haven't talked politics tonight. Let's not. Take a break
I
from
just
it.
remembered I have to do my taxes for next year.
Oh, there you go. This is just some raw stuff. You know how you looking around with the drone for set up a shot.
For
But,
what year, Dan? What year do you have to do your taxes for?
Oh, that was a joke. You guys were about to talk politics. I was just playing. Yeah,
I know
said,
people.
just
I know
remembered
people
have to
who don't
Yeah.
file taxes.
Yeah, I said I have to do taxes. I just remembered I have to do taxes for next year.
They feel it's against their constitutional rights.
Jim, Dan, there I am, sitting in the stadium all by myself.
I'd be
And,
naked.
Yep.
And-
Try standing
and I-
there for an entire baseball game.
And I decided that the coolest shot would just be like what Dan kept doing when you and he were out together. It was basically just set it up and just do a big droney, you know, going just completely backwards. So this was me kind of trying to set it up. And
That's because Dan likes speed.
speed, yeah.
He wants to see them go zoom.
Zoom.
Well, this
I
is
do.
this was a Mavic 2 Pro, and the cool thing about this shot was just the setting that I was in, all by myself, sitting there in that one chair, and then as I back off, you get to see the whole friggin' empty stadium.
See, I don't like to call it a drone because that's what DJI called it.
I know, I know.
It's a reverse
Pullback.
drop away.
A pullback, yeah, whatever you call it. But I just kept going and going and going, looking at the picture, saying, you know, I could just keep going even more.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what makes it fun. How far can you
Yeah.
go? That's
Just keep
how
going.
you realize how small you really are on this freaking planet. The further you
Keep
go back.
going, and I just kept. You see, I just kept going until I had the whole stadium in the shot.
Dude, I would go back a mile. I've done it. Heck, with the solo, I did a 1.5 drop away on one spot. It was just killer.
But what a gorgeous place! And then there was, I had some shots of the of the rest of it, the colors. And I caught this in the morning, so you know, kind of the golden hour. You can see the
Filter
see
time.
the light.
I feel the need for speed.
Yeah, look at that. Look at the colors, though, in that. It was gorgeous.
Now, are you doing that auto, or did you push a button?
No, I don't ever use those auto things. I fly. I hand fly everything.
Good for you.
In fact, I don't even know how. I tried them a couple times. I couldn't even remember how to work them. Somebody says, "How do I do a point of interest?" I couldn't tell you.
I've never used a mode. In fact, Dan and I were laughing about pinching and thumbing. I don't know how the hell you fly a drone that way. How the hell can you pinch?
I'm a pincher because I've always been. That's how most RC flyers fly that way, and I've always been a pincher. But Mr. Steele is a pincher, and he does a pretty good job.
Don't
Well, I mean,
can't see how it's done.
there's thumbers out there. Yeah, I mean, you just have full range extension with your thumbs. You don't get that when you have to move your entire hand to do this. You know, this calculated motion, they actually say is really bad for your tendons to do this. You're flexing muscles in a pattern they shouldn't be flexed. I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff that leads into carpal tunnel and other things from flying.
I've always told everybody I use the sides of my thumbs because I'm always moving and turning the drone at the same time.
Your thumb was meant to do these motions. That's what it was designed for.
Anyway, that was a fun place to fly. That thing. Well, guys, it's almost.
We
10
built
o'clock.
our own ambulance station there, and then we built an ambulance station on Minton Road, and then the county decided that they wanted to pay people to sit on their butt.
Really?
Yeah. So now Harbor City Ambulance is gone, and it's Brevard County Ambulance. That's why you get a fire truck. You get 10 firemen before you ever see an ambulance person now.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Mike says that Steele is a hybrid pincher, thumbs on top and fingers wrapping the sticks. He's not
Well,
a
that's how.
pincher.
That's
Interesting.
how I fly. No, I'm a pincher. Yeah, I guess. I'll try to show you here.
Yeah,
Let me,
put that controller down and have that above camera on you. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I fly with my thumb just kind of not completely over the top, but just touching the top, and then this finger pressing, kind of like this. And I can get full range like that, but just for just sheer little tiny movements. I suppose I could do it with my thumb, but
I'm telling you, man.
But this is the way I'm used to it. You know, 50
Now
plus years.
take your thumb. Take your thumb and put your thumb at the base of those sticks, at the base of the stick.
Down
Right.
here.
And try to do a full rotation of the stick.
No. I that's not what pinching is to me. You got to be up at the top of the stick, and my thumb is usually right there. So you can see a tiny little bit of stick showing. I'm not over the stick. I'm kind of creeping over the back edge of it, and fingertips on the front.
But do you see how you're having to move your whole hand now? You're adding in extra things that don't really have to be. You know what I'm saying?
Let me tell you the difference between finesse flying and the way most of these FPV guys.
Yeah, okay.
You will
I fly
never
50 miles an hour and get it to rotate at the same time.
You will
by
never,
using my thumbs.
but you'll never see me banging the sticks. You'll never see full stick deflection.
Well, you'll
from
see
me.
Mr. Steele do it though when he does a snap maneuver.
Right.
He's full range.
Right.
I mean,
I know, but I don't. That's not my
I know.
style. You know, and my style has always been smooth and
Sure.
because that was when we used to do I used to fly aerobatic competitions and things, and everything had to be. In fact, when people would look at the transmitter sticks, it's hard to almost even see where you're moving them because all the movements are very subtle. So it doesn't really lend itself to quad flying, but.
I feel like Ludstat1 is watching a lot of my old videos right now because he said drone word used in the media too much. I agree, DW. He must be going through some of my old videos right now. And I still feel that way. I think, but the problem is at this point in time, saying anything other than drone just seems pointless because the public already sees it that way and there's no going back at this point. It's not like you can try to change everybody's mind like UAV or, they already have a grasp as to what it is.
Well, because the media loves it. It's a fire word. It's a drone dropping a bomb. It's a media word.
And interestingly enough, that FPV guys call them quads more often than drones. Camera guys call them drones more often than quads.
See, I don't know. If it's got 4 rotors, man, and a camera, I consider it a drone. If it supplies footage, even if it's DVR, and you're able to record that footage, then I consider it a drone. I mean, that's.
How about if you're just flying through the goggles? Is it a quad?
Well, it's got a camera on it. You're still receiving feed. You know what I'm saying? You can still see from the drone, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
now,
guys,
go ahead.
I'm going to call it.
All right.
I'm tired. I'm tired. 10 o'clock, 2 hours. And because last time we went off the air, Jim, and we sat and talked for another hour.
Yeah.
Remember? Yeah. And I don't stay up all night. I go to bed. So, Dan.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for coming in. Enjoyed having your company.
Yeah, man.
Don't be a stranger, okay?
I'm not. I barely get updates from anybody. Oh, I barely get notifications. I don't know what it is, man.
Do I have your email address?
I don't think you do. It's pretty easy. TampaLifestyle87@gmail.
All right, hang on a second. Let me go into my invites list here, and while you're here, make sure I get it. Tampa
Lifestyle.
LIFESTYLE.
Yep. 87.
Tampa Lifestyle 87 at Gmail.
Gmail. Yep. .com.
All right, good. So you'll get an invite every time I have one of these things. I email them out right beforehand.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I can't guarantee I can jump on just because I live a crazy kind of, like tonight, everybody's not watching TV shows, so it works.
I don't want you every time.
You know what? I didn't want to be here every time, did I?
Yeah, I didn't say I wanted you every time. No, whatever you want. Yeah, I like that. I just want you to know that you're welcome. Okay?
I got you.
And
good,
no obligation. If you feel like coming in, come in. I know that there are times I certainly watch some of these other guys' live streams. I feel like chiming in, and sometimes I just don't. I don't even feel like chatting in the chat room because it's just typing on. A lot of times I'm watching it on a cell phone out on my porch. And it's too much trouble typing on that tiny little keyboard.
Yeah, that's what I just do, the voice to text. That's why when people type simple things, in the comment section, you always see me type like a paragraph. That's because I just voice to text and send it. And people are like, "How are you typing this fast?" It's like, well,
and then
I'm lazy.
Then you get some interesting translations sometimes.
Right. That's always fun.
I know. Mine always screws it up.
Crazy.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. Next time you see me, I'll probably have this helicopter all tuned out mechanically, and we'll talk about that Thursday night and anything else. And Jim, I'll be at the park tomorrow at noon.
How far off were you when you mothballed this?
I'm out.
The helicopter. All
okay, Dan, take care. What do you mean, how far off was I?
I mean, what was your prior setup on it?
Oh, it didn't have a flight controller. It had a radio, and all the programming was done in the radio, and we flew it with no flight control. We just flew it.
Okay.
It didn't have any auto leveling. It didn't have any of that stuff. You basically flew the thing.
Because I told you the guys that I saw flying on Saturdays who have the helicopters. When I asked them what they were flying, whether it was RG Pilot or something like that,
Yeah, no,
they didn't know what I was talking about.
no, and that's the way this was, because in the RC hobby, that's how you fly it. There's no autonomous missions. There's no GPS. No nothing. You just, pull back on a stick and tilt the rotor back. You're flying it. It's
I
like
think that's
balancing.
what these guys do.
Yeah, and we used to describe it as like balancing a spinning basketball on top of a spinning basketball. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and it's tough to do with the flight control. Imagine flying a drone with no flight control and having to manually control the speed of all 4 motors to try to keep it low. You couldn't do it. The flight controller's 8,000 times a second. It's making decisions, based on the gyros and everything else. So this thing's it'll be like a different helicopter with this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right, buddy.
All right, Jim, thanks for coming in, buddy, and I'll be at the park at noon. Be there or be square.
All right. I'll see you later.
All right, take care. And thanks, everybody. That just leaves me, no monkey, tonight, because I don't have a green screen, but I think when I say goodnight to the monkey, I think he's back there somewhere. You can't see him. I appreciate everybody coming in. And who we got left? We still have Ludsat in here and Drone Days. Bob Casey is still around. Thanks for sticking in there. Mike, Night Train. But who else did I miss? Love My Drones. Ed, if you're still here. Anyway, I'm back up to the top of the page. Carlos was in here. I had a bunch of guys. Still got 12 in here. I hope I caught everybody. If I missed you, catch you next time. Thanks so much for coming in, and bring a little music to take me out and see if I can't find a monkey and say goodnight to the monkey. Spanky, say goodnight to the people.